can tell, this is no kidding around, man.
It's true. This is very...
You think we're joking on this trail? You're mistaken.
Welcome to another episode of Lounging with Alan. And today we're back at Guahomie Park, where I usually don't get lost, which is a good thing. And so we're here with Jeff Thill, producer, musician, writer, and here he is, Jeff Thill.
I also do close-up magic. You didn't mention that.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
And you work for NASA?
No, I don't. In fact, you can. we can talk about this later. Yeah.
So I met you through Dean.
Yep.
Yes, I'm meeting all my comedians through him.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah, Dean seems to be like the human lint trap for comics and wayward performance artists.
Yes, that's true. So let's start with what we worked on together.
Oh, sure. Let's do that.
Well, first of all, you were working on your Majestic 12, the series you have on YouTube.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You can tell us a little bit about that. I didn't help that much. I mean, I watched you and took some pictures.
Any feedback and support and all the stuff you did, believe it or not, is huge help, because for those of you out there that have ever created a web series, you're really kind of doing it in a vacuum, a creative vacuum, especially when you're adults, older gentlemen like you and I, Alan. Most of your friends look at it like, I'm sorry, what the hell are you doing now? You're doing a web series? How old are you? Why? You trying to sell something?
How much are you making from that?
How does this help your retirement? Yeah, so...
who's paying you for all this work?
Yeah.
That's the first question.
Silly, weird people, which I call friends of Dean, like Alan and myself. We sometimes do things just for the fun of it.
Yes. And
my two kids, great kids, two boys. One of them is 21. The other one's about to turn 24. They still work in the area where I live, and my wife and I are lucky enough to still keep in touch with them. They haven't disappeared to the corners of the earth yet. I thought, hey, you know what? They both like acting, and I have this green screen that cost me $30 on Amazon. Why don't I try to make a little science fiction adventure comedy and put my kids in it? And there you go. So the real first goal was, can I make the upstairs bedroom look like a spaceship? And shockingly, I was pretty successful.
Yes, you were.
And so we've done about 10 episodes. They're all about 3 minutes. You can watch the entire first season, I would say, during your lunch break at work, if you want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing what you can accomplish with just a cell phone and, like I said, a green screen and some stuff I threw together in the garage to make a spaceship. So yeah, nerd central. It's a lot of fun though. And
Hayden is
my older son. Yeah, Hayden.
Stars in it.
Yep. And it's the premise is basically just, what if we had this thing called Naval Space Command, a little more advanced than what Trump just created, and there were actual spaceships in outer space, a naval fleet, but nobody here on Earth even knew about it. And their job was to protect us from aliens, but turns out the aliens just want to party and have fun and trade shit. So my son plays a Naval Space Command pilot who's just looking to party and have fun, and he's always butting heads with the Admiral, which is played by Dean.
Yes,
so it's a fun show.
Dean has a few other parts.
He does indeed. Dean pops in there about 3 or 4 times, yes. So check it out anyway, you know, Majestic 12, it's fun.
And then you came up with Motherload.
Yes.
And Dean and I helped you with that.
Yeah, that was a 18-minute short film that Alan directed and was also the cinematographer and edited. Dean starred in it. What else? I mean, you did 100 things on that film. But that started, you guys, as just a dare. My son said, hey, there's a local film festival. They have one more slot open if we can come up with something good. And it should have just been, you know, a cute little movie, maybe with 3 or 4 people. But somehow between you and I, Alan, we got all excited. And we ended up with a cast of about 25 people, a crew of about 8 people, a sound guy, some folks that are really talented. Actresses that came down from LA that have television credits.
Some other comedians.
Really, really great cast and crew. and had a great time. And
Yeah.
gosh, it was so fun to have a red carpet event and watch it on the big screen in Temecula. And
that's crazy.
yeah,
That's like immediate feedback, huh? It's like as soon as it's done, it's like you're having this
how
premiere.
often do you get that, right? How often do you ever get anyone?
Never.
Yeah. And again, it's fun because you get to have a focus group of people that are into your thing, watch your movie and react to it. You know, how often do you ever get to see that? That's really cool.
We had, what, 300 people there?
We did. Yep. Got a good response.
Filled the seats.
And Motherlode, by the way, for those of you out there listening in, that is what if there was a multi-billionaire who had a party at his estate out in the middle of nowhere, and he invited the world's foremost conspiracy theorists, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, chemtrails, UFOs, these kind of people. And during the party, one of the folks who's a conspiracy theorist kind of gets pulled off to the side by the billionaire. Next thing you know, he wakes up in an underground bunker, and then the interrogation begins and things take a dark turn. So that is Motherlode. I hope you guys will check it out. It was fun to make.
Well, hopefully we'll have it on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll get it up there.
Yeah. And now you're already working on what could be our next project.
Yep.
The rabbit hole.
Yeah, so I really love science fiction, as you probably can tell. And I also love conspiracies, and I also love comedy. I did stand up and still do for the last 15, 20 years. Well, more like 25 years, geez. I like to pretend I'm younger than I am. So I have a idea for a TV show that, we're gonna be pitching to network executives.
Right.
How do you do that, you might ask, if you're just goofy
How do you do that, Jeff?
How, Alan? How can you do that? Do you need special connections? No. Turns out you can use the internet these days, and simple guys like you and me, we can actually Skype network executives and pitch TV shows.
Wow.
So for those of you out there that have never tried it or thought of it, you can do it too.
Wow.
So we're very excited about the new concept, yeah.
We'll shoot it and pitch it, and then see what happens, huh?
Well, Alan and I don't just sit around and wait for stuff to happen. We like to just go ahead and do it. So, in our case, we are going to shoot a teaser, a concept teaser, to be able to show network executives, and again, not have to wait around for them to try to picture what it would look like. Because again, if you have a talented director and you've got a guy that knows lighting and sound and cinematography, and you've got good actors and I guess balls, I don't know, or just stupidity.
Stupidity. If you have the right level of stupidity.
The right level.
And enough cash to back it up.
A truly stupid and futile gesture being made on someone's part, then who knows, people? Shoot for the stars, right?
And it would be nice if we shot the pilot because, we could use it just like a example.
Do you see what happened? He's here to interview me, and now it's turned into a pre-production meeting.
Oh my God.
We're already starting to think about it. I love it.
All right.
No, you're right, though.
So now we're going to talk about how you got started in comedy.
Okay.
We're going back in time.
Back in time, yeah. So most of the things that I've done that are a little unusual always started out with a dare or just me thinking, that's the opposite of anything I would feel comfortable doing. And so I just kind of do it. I always have this philosophy, if I have any philosophy, which is anytime you can take a left turn, take it. And every fun thing that's ever happened to me, every cool, weird, strange adventure has always been a decision to just make a left turn. And, it's worked out. So comedy, same thing. I had a friend who I knew in high school, and this was a few years after high school. He was always kind of funny, and he told me he was performing at the Comedy Store. And I thought, damn it.
In
La Jolla, California.
La Jolla, yeah.
I thought, man, this guy wasn't that funny. And if he's able to get on stage and get stage time, it was almost like a, hey, screw you, dude. I'm funnier than you.
Yeah, hey, here's how you do it.
Hey, I'll tell you who's funny.
You come on, watch me.
So I, gave it a shot and stuck to it. And about a year later, I was able to become a regular there and actually, you know, eventually worked my way into a situation where I made it onto a few little TV shows and was starting to have some fun with it and get some good success, and working at the Improv and the Laugh Factory and Ice House and all those places. But I did peel back a little bit.
What year was this?
This would have been about 1994. I did lay off a little bit when my wife was pregnant with our first son. I thought to myself, do I really want to be calling her from Dayton, Ohio at a Red Roof Inn and asking, you know,
how's the kid?
Did he take his first steps yet?
Right.
It just didn't seem like a good thing to do, you know?
Right.
So, but I still, the great thing about comedy, which I love, is you can do it anytime, you know?
Yeah,
in almost every town in America, there's an open mic somewhere. Here around us, there's 6 or 7. So it's fun. I just kind of keep it alive, and I still do sets and having a great time.
So your real job.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. My real job, I used to work up in LA, in Hollywood for years in post-production, kind of behind the scenes. Then I shifted and moved here to Temecula. And here, I'm actually a trainer. So I'm a sales trainer. I train guys how to sell products ethically and give them confidence. It's almost like a glorified Toastmasters, you know, how to speak in front of others and how to develop rapport and a connection and communicate. And that's been wonderful for me because I can do comedy during that. So inevitably
captivated audience, so they can't
move. They have to be there or they're fired. So
the perfect audience.
The only downside is you never know if they're laughing because it really was funny or because they think they have to.
Right.
But that's been a great job.
Requirement.
I love teaching, and I love what I do. It's a lot of fun.
When did you get interested in writing?
I've always really loved writing. Even as a kid in grade school, I would write little skits and sketches that my friends and I would perform. And gosh, over the years, I've written, you know, a number of screenplays. Some of them have gotten little blips of notice and almost sold a couple, you know, like most writers, almost sold a couple. But I've always enjoyed writing, and that's been something I've done, like I said, since I was a kid. And I only seem to enjoy fictional, surreal, sci-fi, fantasy type writing. That's where I'm kind of in my wheelhouse.
Right.
But I grew up on all the same shows that you and Dean love, you know, Star Trek and the original Batman and Lost in Space, and we're all just weird kids that grew up on HR Puffin Stuff and Lidsville and just a bunch of nutty acid trip induced nonsense. That's definitely given me an interesting perspective later in life, but I think it was for the better.
Education. If you have any.
I do. I graduated from the University of California, San Diego, UCSD. I managed to squeeze 4 years of education into 5. Definitely switched majors a few times, like a lot of people. It was kind of fun. I thought I was going to be a doctor. That took more work than I thought. Then I thought I was just going to be a biologist. So I got a job at the Center for Molecular Genetics on the campus. And I was making chemical solutions part-time for a genetic research team in order to help pay for my tuition, only to discover I have no interest in biology and I've got to graduate, and now I've been here almost 5 years. What do I do? And thankfully, my counselor was able to say, hey, if you take this class over here and that class over there and throw those together and switch campuses and call it communications, you're out of here. So communications, folks.
What does your family think about your comedy? Did they ever see it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My parents, although they've both passed away, they definitely were always extremely supportive. My dad was a lot like me, or I should say I was a lot like him. He was always a performer and loved making people laugh and just had a childlike outlook on life. My wife would argue childish, but no, I'm kidding. She's awesome. She's been very supportive too. And my mom also super supportive. They were great parents, kind of a Norman Rockwell upbringing. If I ever mess up later in life, I definitely can't do that. You know,
it's my
parents' fault.
Yeah, you can't blame.
No. Great people, yeah.
Right. Do you meet any other stars that we might know, celebrities, when you were hitting the circuit, comedy circuit?
Sure, yeah. I would say, you know, many of the larger stars that you see today, whether it's, you know, Jim Carrey or Chris Rock or folks that are just, you know, huge favorites like Joe Rogan, Brian Regan, Jake Johansson. Some of those names may not be familiar to you, but all great comedians, Patton Oswalt. These are all folks that I either opened for or what we call middled with at the Comedy Store. And it's really great to see that almost without exception, they all did really well. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. My son, at a certain point about 3 years ago, he stopped believing me when I used to sit there in front of Netflix while he's on the couch and say, you know, I used to work with that guy. Me and that guy knew each other. I opened for that guy. And he's like, you know, I'm going to call bullshit on this. One of those comedians is a really talented, super funny guy, Doug Benson.
Yep.
And if those of you don't know who Doug Benson is, he has a really funny marijuana-related outlook and marketing scheme in terms of his comedy. Super funny guy. He and I not only worked at a movie theater together in La Mesa when we were younger, but we both ended up doing comedy. Doug has done very well for himself, lots of, you know, network specials and things like that. My son said, I'm calling bullshit. You don't know Doug Benson. So he tweeted Doug Benson. My dad says he knows you. Please set me straight. And Doug, who I hadn't talked to in about 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Greatest response ever. Your dad was actually a very talented up-and-coming comic until you little shits came along. Love, Doug. It was just the greatest thing ever. My son laughed so hard, he shared it with all of his friends. I just thought that was the greatest thing ever. I never got around to thanking him for that.
Oh my God.
That was good. He gave me a lot of street cred.
Yeah. Working right now on the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, so right now, the next concept, because again, I gotta say, for anyone out there who is an amateur filmmaker or just you want to do something creative and you want to get some exposure, there's never been a better time. Look at Alan and I mean, just with some minimal equipment,
well,
some know-how. Well, I mean minimal equipment, the real pros.
Compared to the
yeah. But anybody,
Spielberg.
Compared to Spielberg, we're not going there. But hey, they've shot feature films on iPhones. Right?
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
So I guess my point is now there is an audience out there. There's YouTube and all these distribution networks.
This is where I usually have my guests walk down through this path just to see if they can find any rattlesnakes. I just wondered if you were open to that.
I'll watch for them, sure.
It's more of a challenge.
I thought it was you stand here and you watch for them. You don't? You have to walk through the brush?
You got to look for them, I think, is what they mean.
All right, well, I'll do my best.
Watch as in find.
By the way, if you look down here, I'll even roll my socks down just to make sure they get a good... I heard they like that.
Grip.
I heard they like that.
They get a good grip.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look.
All right. Okay, he's walking in. I can't really show this because it's too dangerous. Oh, something's happened. Oh, Jesus. You know, I think you're right. I think it meant watch out.
You know what's weird?
It just didn't say out.
And most people don't do this. I actually carry anti-venom with me.
Oh, thank God.
This isn't the first time it's happened. To answer your question, though, Rabbit Hole is the name of the next project. And we're basically imagining, this should be like a fun show, by the way. This is probably a half-hour show, episodic, science fiction. I call it the industry calls it a dramedy. It's part comedy, but it's got dramatic elements.
Right.
The same tone as like maybe a Firefly.
Okay.
Tongue-in-cheek, lots of adventure. Basically, you've got this scientist. She works for JPL. She is a mission specialist and works on the Mars lander missions. She's also severely agoraphobic and is nervous about being outside and ever interacting with the rest of the world.
Right.
The last thing that she ever wanted or expected, as these TV shows go, is for a 1967 atomic age rocket car to suddenly show up in her life and introduce her to a vast global network of underground hyperspeed tunnels built by scientists back during the Cold War and then forgotten. And we're looking forward to jumping in and actually getting the storyboard going and starting to shoot some stuff. It should be fun.
And you've got someone to modify the car, right?
Yeah, that's the centerpiece to the show, is the actual car itself. So we're probably going to end up taking my beat up 1998 Hyundai Elantra and elongating it and putting fins and nose cones and a dome on top and turning it into something else. So this will be fun.
Nice.
Oh,
then
that
here.
I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us what this art means on here.
I don't know exactly what the art is, but so there are aquifers that send water to and from locations underground. And this is actually an air vent. Okay. In order to keep the water moving, you have to be able to vent the air, otherwise it gets stuck, like a siphon effect. This is abandoned. It is no longer being used. If it were being used, you probably wouldn't be able to walk right up to it, and if you could, they would probably have a cap on the top of it so people can't throw stuff in there, because again, this is an actual water supply. So I doubt that this thing is active, but that's what these things are. You know, creative writing, that's definitely a hobby. I just write all kinds of nonsense, even if it's not gonna go anywhere or do anything. I just do that when I'm have some downtime. I really love working in Photoshop, taking random images and drawing my own stuff and coming up with new concepts. So I love just noodling around in the digital photographic world.
So you can show us some of your magic while we're here, or do you need to prepare?
No, my magic consists of 2 good card tricks that I know, and even good may even be a stretch, since, you know, about a third of the time someone knows how it's done. But I do love magic, not quite enough to bother people on the street or create a series of videos about it. Right. But I always got a kick out of it. I think magic is much more fun when you're not telling people I'm a magician, check out all these tricks. I think it's more fun when you're just at a barbecue and you're playing cards or something, and you just throw one out there, and if you make it one that's pretty mind-blowing, it's kind of fun. Yeah. So where did you meet Dean? He'll probably watch this eventually. Yeah, right. So I believe that Dean and I may have bumped into each other back in the 90s at one point at the Comedy Store, but we weren't friends. There wasn't any kind of connection there, but I think we might have crossed paths as early as the 90s. Oh. However, we most recently bumped into each other again when I was performing in a little local skit show in a city down here in Oceanside in Carlsbad. And Dean, who knows the very talented comic who created the skit show, Lamont Ferguson, really great guy. Dean came to see the show and hung out a little bit a couple times. And that's how I kind of got, I think, more like reintroduced to him in a way. What year was that? This was just a few years ago. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Dean and I haven't known each other for too long. But again, when you're a grown adult like myself, it's very rare to meet another grown adult who just likes doing goofy, creative things and doesn't really care how you look or how you act, and isn't afraid to be stupid, and loves comic books and sci-fi and all that fun stuff. Yeah. So anytime I can get Dean to jump into one of my projects, I'm on board, you know? Yeah. I'm all for it. I remember when you came over to film him for one of his parts in your Majestic 12, and I didn't know that you just had your little green screen thing and a couple of tripods and your cell phone, and I was like, whoa, because I'd already seen some episodes. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. That's how you're pulling this off? Yeah. Yeah. God forbid I ever were to get a studio space and be able to create a little bit of depth. Oh my gosh, you guys should see what I can do. Yeah. Right. Plus, Alan and Dean and I are lucky enough to know a really talented artist, sculptor, and prop master. This guy's named Adam Murillo. Right. And oh my gosh, when I found out that he lives just about 20 minutes from my house, and this guy can build you a perfect 2-scale Tyrannosaurus Rex or any kind of prosthetic makeup. He just Terminator. He's just an expert in every type of media, and to have someone like that loves doing this kind of stuff, Wow.
He's a
that
member.
Was a golden, yeah.
I'm a member of the Science Fiction Coalition, which just a bunch of guys that get together like to dress up, cosplay. But I don't dress up.
That sounds terrible. Wow.
It can be okay. And I just take photos of them. You know, I just promote them and take videos.
Alan likes to watch.
So I'll cut that out. But he's a member. I think he just joined not long after I did, and then he showed up as Terminator, and he looks just like him. Oh my God.
Keep in mind, you guys, when we say he showed up as the Terminator,
oh, man.
It's not he took his own face and just kind of made it look a little bit like the Terminator. He actually takes a mold of Arnold Schwarzenegger's face. So when he's walking around, it literally looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger from the late 80s with a ripped up face and metal coming through and an eyeball that's
and the
blinking.
whole outfit,
oh my God.
It's crazy.
It's like a time machine. Morning.
Hello. Oh yeah, I called them to come get you if you got out of line. They're just patrolling, just to make sure.
Well, that goes back to the conspiracy side of me, Alan. I'm always being monitored, followed, tagged, or in some other way.
Or filmed with a GoPro.
Observed, yes.
Even on your walking trail.
You can't get away from it.
That's right.
You can't get away from a paranoid mind. I'll scare the people at home for one quick second. Did you know that stagnant water from ponds and lakes and other things can carry a thing called Streptococcus neuromyces? You're probably wondering what that is.
Yes, I am.
It attacks your brain and your nervous system and usually kills you within a week or two.
Whoa. Takes a week?
It's also known as...
Here, you film me. I'm going to get in this and try it. I don't believe you.
Okay,
so I'm gonna...
let's do it.
I think I'm going to get in here. Do you think this is stagnant enough?
That is pretty stagnant. Although, you know, Alan, I would argue it's not stagnant enough because you can see there is running water over there. So you are going to get a little bit of...
So we got to wait and find a stagnant place. Probably.
Brackish. It has to be brackish, whatever the definition of that is.
All right. All right. So I'll wait. I'll find another spot.
Okay.
And try it out.
All right.
Because I don't believe you.
Well, the reason I even know about this is it's the curse of the Pharaoh. For those of you that were young at one time and loved conspiracies from a show called In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, yes.
Old TV show. The curse of the Pharaoh. When they opened up King Tut's tomb for the first time, a lot of the folks that were involved in that expedition died mysteriously within weeks and or months of the expedition.
You mean when they were filming that episode? Is that what you're talking about?
The actual people who opened the tomb originally.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, they all died. A lot of them did, not everybody.
Wow.
And
that's why?
They suspect Streptococcus neuromyces, at least to some degree, which is also can exist in stagnant air, where there's the lack of, really.
Wow.
So you don't want to just start opening up tombs without a respirator.
And just walking right in.
Not that you were going to do that, but don't do it.
We got to be careful.
I'm so allergic to poison oak. I really firmly believe if I'm even in the same vicinity, I start to break out. But I've broken out in poison oak about a dozen or more times in my life, and it was always in Wisconsin. But wow, I'm gonna have to stay to the path, Alan. I want you to look out for me. Some of that psychosomatic itching, scratching.
No, don't start that.
Do I look like I already have it? Can you see? Is it on there? Does that look like I have poison oak right there? Everybody on this path, you guys, is dressed like they are going to an Arctic weather station and they're going to live there for the next 4 months. For those that don't know, it's literally 70 degrees right now.
Now, honestly, I've never been on this trail, so I'm just curious where we're going to end up.
Okay.
And I hope you're okay with that.
Well, I was talking about taking left turns, and technically this was a left turn. And by the way, as a comic, we're used to navigating sensitive areas. So I would like to believe that I would be adept at that. But, you know, be cool with the Rangers.
Oh, be careful, man. Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna try to do it without touching the handrails.
Okay. So far, so good. You made it. All right, we're not gonna be crossing the bridge today. Sorry.
What?
Is this stagnant water, by the way?
That's very brackish.
I might have to jump in there when we get back because I still want to test your theory. Sometimes I live back in here when I can't pay my rent. Back in there. It's kind of scary at night, but...
That reminds me very much of 6th grade. We had to do a primitive man report. You had to go out into the woods by yourself and create your own makeshift habitat and then photograph it. And then they insisted it was by yourself. By the way, how great was the 70s? What people at home aren't getting the benefit of is it really smells good. It's just awesome. It smells like nature. All kinds
Well,
of cool...
I did shower last night.
Nope. I was going to say something. That's not it. That's not it. It smells so good out here, even with Alan not showering.
Doesn't distract.
I haven't
from the nature.
Triggered my gag reflex once.
Hello. Thought I was going to give him some food.
And a buddy of mine said, hey man, you should go to a UFO convention. Those people are crazy and you can get all kinds of material for your act.
And he was right, huh?
He was right. I did a number of times and it was funny, guys. It was crazy. But one of the guys was an emergency room physician and he didn't sound crazy. In fact, he sounded really sane. He wasn't trying to sell anything. And he had collected witness testimony from real guys, brigadier generals, a guy that served on the USS Roosevelt, the guy that was the head of the Federal Aviation Administration, you know, people that worked in NORAD. And they were all saying the same thing. UFOs are real. And they explained exactly...
Are real?
Are real. And they explained exactly how they're kept secret, why they're kept secret.
You're filming me do a death-defying trick.
Okay, and this is the... I gotta
on.
shoot it this way.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
You ready? Here I go.
Okay. I'm gonna stop.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, here I go.
Okay.
Done. Yes.
He didn't even have to duck.
Did
I love
not
it.
have
That's
to
the
duck.
perfect... Are you this tall?
I'm sure you'll be fine.
Well, and it's hard to believe. But he said, look, I have collected over the last 2 or 3 years, this is that emergency room doctor speaking, about 50 witnesses, all of whom are vetted, serious military and government folks.
Right.
And they all want to tell their story because they're tired of keeping it a secret. Their security oaths are over.
Right.
And they think that people should know. And I said, that can't be true. And so I thought, how can I learn more about this? You know, and so I just walked up to him and I said, hey, I know how to edit.
Right.
I'll edit that stuff for you if you trust me enough. And we got to know each other over the course of a, you know, few meetings, and he let me do it.
Is this stagnant enough down here? I really want to test out your theory.
All right, go for it, man.
Maybe later,
Oh,
because that looks
sure.
a little too stagnant over
No,
there.
that's perfect. You just
Perfect?
walk out there and you jump in.
All right,
I
you can
think
film
that's-
me walking across this
I think
beam,
that's
and I
absolutely
may
perfect.
end up in there anyway.
Yeah,
Here we
no,
go.
that I don't think he's going to do it.
Oh, no, I'm already
No, he's-
slipping.
Wow.
Did you hear about the dyslexia that walked into a bra?
Very good. Ask me if I'm dyslexic.
Are you dyslexic?
On.
I want to see if you can make it under through here.
Okay.
It's like a challenge.
All right. Underneath it?
Yeah, can you? So far, so good. Whew, you are brave. Oh, yeah. You got to read this.
Mule fat is a large bush native to the southwest and northern Mexico. It has long, pointed leaves with many small white flowers. The flowers can attract butterflies, and the Navajos use this plant as an herbal remedy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't look like the mule fat. It looks more like someone's underwear got shredded.
No, that's actually missing persons
Oh, God.
case from about 6
We better
years ago.
keep
it looks
moving.
like, yeah.
Better keep moving.
Said, yes, Jeff, if you want to edit all these hundreds of hours of witness testimony to UFOs and things, I will let you. I flew out to his house.
Wow.
He paid, and it was, I believe it was South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, or was it North Carolina? One of the Carolinas. This is back in the year 1999 or 2000-ish, before 9/11, by the way. And I met a lot of these witnesses, and I realized, uh-oh, this appears to be true. Gulp. When you actually meet a guy that was a brigadier general under Eisenhower, and he tells you that it's real, you tend to believe him. And then when 50 more people, just like him, very highly decorated people, no nonsense people, These aren't, I got abducted and anally probed on my ranch in Montana people. These are real people. It blew my mind. I go home, a few weeks later, ding dong, there's a box at my door, and it's about 200 hours.
Did you open it?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I ran. I ran the other way, screaming. Anyway, suffice to say, once I looked at all the witness testimony, it absolutely blew my mind and forever changed my outlook on, you know, UFOs and things like that. So, you know that I was wondering why everyone walking this way was glaring at us, almost sneering, rolling their eyes. What the hell, dude?
Because this is like non-trail trail.
Did you not read the sign?
Yeah, really. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So far, so good.
Huh?
You almost made it.
Backwards.
Except I have some more bad news.
What?
Yes.
More poison oak?
Yes.
Damn it. Hey, by the way, later on or at some point in the future, can you Google this and find out why bicycles are allowed but no e-bikes?
Oh my gosh.
They were riding e-bikes. But no, I mean, you can bail on your workout. With an e-bike, as you pedal, you're storing up power, so at any given time you can go, yeah, fuck it. And you just push the button and you can just go automatically. I love that. It's like, not too much commitment here.
I thought maybe we would do a little race in this lake over here so you can get to the other side. My cameras can go underwater, so it's all right if it gets wet.
Only a person our age would make a note of that. Kids today would be like, yeah, and so?
And they all are,
yeah, right? Yeah. Jacques Cousteau would have, his head would have exploded if you told him that GoPro
in this
captures 4K and can shoot underwater.
He'd need a freaking submarine.
What now? Yeah, they had a $250,000 submarine that most people died in. At least once a month, someone never came back up. No, I actually love the outdoors and I love camping. I just can't do it where there's poison oak or poison ivy.
Or trees.
Yeah.
There's some ducks up here, so be careful.
Those are people.
Oh, you're right.
Jeez, Alan.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
Goodness.
I should have known by the long coats.
Wow.
More e-bikes. Or just bikes. Oh my God.
About 75 more duckies before a nap. The horrific sound of children having a good time. When you were a kid, well, maybe more our age, they had magazines where you had to find things that were hidden in a picture. And maybe it was a toothbrush that looked like the handle of a vacuum cleaner and you had to go, oh, there's the toothbrush, right? Now, Alan is gonna pan this beautiful little vista, this little grass knoll, and I want you to see, you're not gonna be able to, by the way, it's impossible, see if you can find the cell phone towers. He will point them out to you, but again, believe it or not, there were 2 cell phone towers in that photo.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's all I can do.
Very talented.
Slow that down so it looks like I'm doing it longer.
I was like a noob once and I pulled in here and paid $3 to park. I don't know, I think I lost Jeff at some point. Oh, Jeff.
Oh.
We're still doing the interview,
We are?
man.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah. Maybe someday we'll do a part 2 or a part 3. I didn't get to the fact that my house is haunted.
Ooh.
And a bunch of other paranormal things that, yes, they're probably just figments of my imagination, but they are fun to hear about. But no, thank you very much, man. This was a lot of fun. And in closing, I will just say that I did work up a little bit of a sweat. I feel like my heart rate did maybe not get to its target, but close. And this is certainly better than what I was going to do, which is sit in front of a hot apple fritter and
look at it
and think to myself, gosh, I'm about to eat this, and then afterwards, why?
Nap.
Why did I do that?
Hopefully you'll keep me in mind for your future projects, because I know you're going to be super famous and I just want to ride that coattail.
Seriously, do you see anything at all? I feel like my throat is starting to get a... Nothing? No?
Now you have been hiking for years, and so
Yeah.
you tell me what made this track right here.
Okay.
You tell me what made that.
So again, I was an Eagle Scout. I don't pretend to be any kind of an expert in forestry, But for sure, without a doubt, and without my kit, and without any forensic evidence, I can safely tell you that's a chupacabra.
Have you ever been face to face with
a chupacabra?
Chupacabra, yeah.
No. A goat sucker? Yes. And I guess we can end on this, Alan. Just a little bit of trivia. And again, I'm not the docent here at this park, but I do know that years and years ago, they made an entire miniature golf course fun park, but it was geared for not just kids, but little people. And that would be, you know, we don't use the M word, okay? But
this whole park?
People that are a little bit smaller than normal. And not everything still exists. They didn't rip it all down, but of course, years ago, they got rid of it all. But you can still see the remnants of some of it, and this was the batting cage.
Now, how do they get in this one?
So a series of tunnels would lead up to the cages, and then they would kind of rise up inside of it. They had to do it that way. You might ask, Jeff, isn't a batting cage normally open-ended on one end so the batter can approach and go inside? Yes, typically. These are little people. We also have red-tailed hawks in this area, and even eagles. So the fear, of course, that, and it did happen one time, don't even want to talk about it, really sad. So they had to bring them in tunnels for fear that they might get carried off.
I was wondering if anyone was in there now.
Closed it years ago, yeah. I mean, you could still, you know, try to bat in there if you wanted to, but I don't know that it would, nah, you probably couldn't.
And what's the name of this park again?
Mini golf. Not too creative.
That's why they went out of business, I think, the name.
Nope. Just a lot of lawsuits that ended up in small claims court. So the question was, how can people get a hold of me? Well, you can certainly look me up on Facebook or Instagram, right? Jeff Thill, Thill. And I'm always looking for actors and anyone that wants to help out with short film productions and things like that. Or anyone that wants maybe some, you know, tips on comedy. I'm happy to always reach out to someone and give you whatever sage advice I can hand out. So goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, Jeff.
They increase it by 1 every day that you're here. So everyone that lives in the park, they graciously do give you a mailbox. And you can tell how long the person's been in the park, how many days, by the number on the mailbox anyway. So this is mine.